In the past, scientists warned us that the Earth was getting hotter.
We have already reached one tipping point, and we are going to lose all of the sea ice in the Arctic in the summer season.
Many ignored them.
Are we concerned about keeping the carbon in the forests? Or I don't care?
But now their warning has come true.
Carbon dioxide acts like a blanket. It absorbs the heat radiation from the Earth's surface, and that keeps the surface warmer.
The world is heating up. Storms are stronger. And disasters are worse. From the hottest summer to big hurricanes and rising seas prove climate change is real and happening now. Some guesses were right, some were wrong. But one thing is clear, that our planet is in danger. What could happen next? Let's find out. Global warming. In 1981, NASA scientist James Hansen and his team studied global temperatures from 1880 to 1985. They saw that Earth was getting warmer by about 0.2 degrees C every decade. Hansen warned that if pollution kept rising, the warming would continue or even speed up.
Because we really have reached a point of a planetary emergency.
Now, his predictions have come true. Experts say that from 2014 to 2023, global temperatures went up by about 1.19 degrees compared to the past, 1850 to 1900. This shows the Earth is still warming at the same rate. Hotter temperatures have led to more extreme weather. The summer of 2024 was the hottest ever recorded. It was 0.69 degrees C warmer than the average from 1991 to 2020. Heat waves, floods, and wildfires hit many places, including Europe and Australia. Millions of people suffered, and damages were huge.
More than 100 people, 120 people have died, and hundreds more are still missing after the worst flooding in parts of Western Europe for several decades.
These facts show that early climate models were right. They also prove we must act fast to cut pollution and protect ourselves from climate change. Hurricane Katrina. Hurricane Katrina hit in 2005. The warm ocean waters helped it grow. Scientists like Kerry Emanuel warned that hotter seas would make storms stronger.
I think we reached that point in the Atlantic, myself. Not all of my colleagues agree, but I think there's a strong anthropogenic signal in Atlantic hurricane power.
By 2005, the Gulf of Mexico had very hot waters, which helped Katrina form quickly. In 2005, there were 28 storms and 15 hurricanes. 4 of them were Category 5. Katrina caused terrible damage. In New Orleans, levees broke and much of the city flooded. The storm caused $125 billion in damage, and at least 1,392 lives were gone. Experts said the chance of such a season was less than 1%. This made 2005 unusual. Climate change made storms like Katrina stronger. We must act now to protect places from future storms. Rising sea level.
It is the threat to life in South Florida as we know it. Sea level rise.
Sea levels are rising, and the effects are already here. In 1989, the UN warned that rising emissions could flood coastal areas in the future.
Our world is in dangerous waters. Scientists tell us that the global sea level is now rising faster than at any time in the last 3,000 years.
We haven't seen this yet, but the sea is getting higher. Since 1900, sea levels have risen about 10 to 20 centimeters, 4 to 8 inches. This is because the oceans are warming and glaciers are melting. Some places see faster rises because of land sinking or currents. Coastal cities are already feeling the effects. In Miami, Florida, streets flood during high tides, even without storms. Miami Beach, sitting just 4.4 feet above sea level, is hit hardest. The city is spending $500 million to install pumps, raise roads, and build seawalls. Rising seas also threaten freshwater sources. The Everglades, which provide water to Florida, are at risk. Salt water is getting into the Biscayne Aquifer, Miami's main water source. Efforts are underway to protect these resources. This isn't just a Miami problem. Islands like Samoa and Tonga are seeing more flooding. UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres called it a worldwide catastrophe. Small islands are at risk of losing land. and legal issues are being discussed about shifting borders. Though the worst predictions of 1989 haven't happened, sea levels are rising. Coastal communities everywhere face flooding and water shortages. We must act now to protect the Earth. Wildfire. In the 1990s, scientists predicted that a warmer planet would dry out forests and grasslands, especially in places like the western US, Australia, and the Mediterranean. A 1990 study warned that higher temperatures and changing rainfall could double the area burned by wildfires by the middle of the century. Today, those predictions are becoming true. In the western US, wildfires have grown much worse in the last 40 years. From 1985 to 2017, rising temperatures and dry weather caused more intense fires. These fires make it harder for forests to grow back. Australia has had worse bushfire seasons too. The 2019-2020 Black Summer fires are a good example. They killed 33 people, destroyed over 3,000 homes, and burned 17 million hectares of land. Experts say fire seasons like this could happen more often, with conditions like those in 2019 to 2020 becoming the norm by 2040. Also, research shows that wildfire smoke, made worse by global warming, is responsible for about 12,000 extra loss each year from breathing in harmful particles. This shows the severe health risks of climate change and how much we need to act. These events match earlier climate predictions, showing a clear link between climate change and more frequent and intense wildfires in vulnerable areas. Now first, like always, be sure to hit the like button down below. It helps us out tremendously with the reach of this video. Thank you. Himalayan glaciers. In 2007, the IPCC said Himalayan glaciers might vanish by 2035. But this was a mistake. It came from a 1999 interview with Syed Hasnain, who guessed the glaciers could melt due to warming. This idea was used in reports without checking. The interview wasn't peer-reviewed science. Glaciologist Georg Kaiser disagreed, calling the prediction wrong. He had warned about it in 2006. The IPCC admitted the mistake, saying the 2035 number was weak. But they still said glaciers are melting, which affects water for billions. Scientists have been warning us for years about the risk of climate change, and now some of those predictions may come true. Now we will see what might happen to humanity in the near future. Mega-droughts crippling food production. A 2015 study from Columbia University warned that parts of the U.S. Southwest and Central Plains might face severe droughts lasting 20-50 years by the end of this century. These droughts would be worse than anything seen in the last 1,000 years. They are caused by rising temperatures, more evaporation, and less rainfall. Similar warnings have been made for southern Europe and sub-Saharan Africa. Right now, the West is in a 23-year drought, the driest since 800 AD, according to UCLA. The Colorado River has lost 20% of its flow. Water shortages are hurting farms. For example, California's almond farms and Spain's olive groves are suffering. Climate models predict a 2-4 degrees rise in global temperatures in the upcoming future. This will make things worse and could reduce crop yields by 30-50% in key farming areas by 2070. The U.S. Southwest has seen similar droughts before, including in the 12th, 13th, 16th, and 20th centuries. The current drought, which began in 2000, is the driest 22-year period in at least 1,000 years. Higher temperatures are speeding up evaporation, using up water and hurting farms. This growing dryness isn't only happening in North America. A UN report from December 2024 showed that over the past 30 years, 77.6% of the Earth's land has become drier because of climate change. This has made dry areas 4.3 million square kilometers bigger. It has caused big losses in economies, forced people to move, led to more lifeless, and caused worse wildfires. Areas like Europe, Brazil, the Mediterranean, Central Africa, and Eastern Asia are being hit the hardest. The need for action is urgent. If we don't act, areas that depend on farming and water will face even bigger challenges. We must reduce greenhouse gas emissions, grow drought-resistant crops, and improve water management. These actions are needed to protect our future. tropical cyclones, turning deadlier and wetter. Kerry Emanuel, a professor at MIT, studies how climate change affects hurricanes. His research in 2021 shows that a 2-3 degrees C rise in global temperatures could lead to more strong hurricanes by 2100. These hurricanes might increase by 10 to 20%, with more rainfall in each storm. This matches what the IPCC reports. Storms have become more frequent and stronger over the last 40 years. The main reason for this is the warming of the oceans. Since 1970, the oceans have warmed by 0.8 degrees C. This provides more energy for storms, making them stronger. From 1979 to 2017, more storms reached Category 3 and higher, especially in the North Atlantic and Southern Indian Ocean. If temperatures rise by 2 degrees, about 13% of storms could be Category 4 or 5. Between 2019 and 2024, human-caused climate change made wind speeds in Atlantic storms 18 mph faster on average. This has already led to stronger storms like Hurricane Lorenzo 2019, Hurricane Ian 2022, and Hurricane Lee 2023. Along with stronger winds, climate change also causes more rainfall. For example, Hurricane Ian in 2022 had 10% more rain than it would have before global warming. Storms are also getting stronger faster. Hurricane Laura in 2020 grew from Category 1 to Category 4 in just one day. This rapid change makes storms harder to predict and increases the danger to communities. Cities like Houston and Manila could face billion-dollar floods every year by 2050. The combination of stronger winds, heavier rain, and slower storms makes these cities more likely to be hit by huge floods. The growing threat of stronger hurricanes shows why we must improve disaster plans and protect people from the effects of climate change. Mass migration from unlivable heat zones. Climate change is making it harder to live in many parts of the world, especially in places like South Asia, North Africa, and Latin America. The temperature is rising, heat waves are becoming more common, and heat combined with humidity is making it even worse. A 2021 World Bank report says that by 2050, 216 million people could be forced to leave their homes within their own countries, with the worst effects on these regions. A 2015 study warned that wet bulb temperatures over 35 degrees C, 95 degrees, could make parts of the tropics too hot for people to survive. The human body can't cool down in these conditions, causing heat stress and even death. The danger is becoming more obvious. In 2022, India had a heat wave with temperatures reaching 49 degrees, 120.2 degrees, killing hundreds and forcing many people to leave their homes. In 2023, Pakistan saw wet bulb temperatures near 33 degrees C, 91.4 degrees Fahrenheit, showing how bad things are getting. By 2080, cities like Lagos and Karachi could face weeks of dangerous heat. Millions might be forced to move to safer places. We need to act fast to protect those at risk. Climate change plans are no longer optional, they are needed now. If we don't do something about rising temperatures, crop failures, water shortages, and rising sea levels, millions of people will have to leave their homes. We don't know when this will happen, but we know it will. The signs are clear. The warnings are right. The time to act isn't tomorrow, it's now. Thanks for watching. See you next time.